All right, 2-1-1 series later, and it comes down to this top right-hand corner. It is MAXPAX. And in the bottom left, he's the one and only SOO from the Quamdom Freaks. But yeah, Armani special, 1-1, very, very close. Really good series there between those two. Which means we head into this last series, and suddenly, everything is going to hinge on this ZVP. Now, if we get another 1-1, of course, we will go to that ace match. We will go to one more game to decide it all. One player chosen from the lineup, or perhaps as a sub to come through. And if either of these players is able to get the 2-0, they are going to take it for their team. For the Freaks, of course, that would be a pretty big result for them. Being able to find the win against Storm Gaming. And for MAXPAX, definitely is going to want to find some success here for his team. And, I think, obviously, Gumiho getting the one win against Trap is really good for him. And I think a lot of people would have expected Trap to 2-0 that. Special versus Armani. Maybe should have been a 2-0, but honestly, Armani's level of play has been pretty high lately. He didn't look as hot in the GSL qualifiers, but still was able to make it through. I believe Armani was able to. So we'll see. We'll see. Armani, of course, able to get the 1-1 tied up. And so for MAXPAX, what form is MAXPAX in? And that's a good question that you asked there. I'm glad that you did, because it gives me something else to talk about, which I always love. I love having other things to talk about. Let's talk about MAXPAX just a little bit here. Of course, DreamHack Masters EU is still going on, and MAXPAX did manage to make it out of his group, mind you. Made it out actually 5-2 of Group B. Had a really, really good result there. However, because that was started, I believe, in the lower bracket. Now, there, MAXPAX did manage to actually take out Showtime 3-0. If you haven't seen that in those matches, MAXPAX showed some very, very dominant PvP. However, he was stopped quite suddenly, and it was by none other than a Zerg, who, of course, is Lambo. And so MAXPAX's ZVP, is it right now in the best of forms? I think that's kind of the question that we got to look at, because SOO has been on quite the up and up since he qualified. Right now, I believe, is currently, boasting really high win rates in almost every matchup. Is currently sitting about 60% in official matches. And his ZVPs have looked good. In the Elite League Invitational, number 13 in that best of 7 finals, 4-1 to Trap. Did end up dropping, I think, 2-0 to Hero a few days, or a day prior to that. But of course, Hero, I think, currently is probably, alongside Creator, the best Protoss, more in contention for the best Protoss in the world. And then also managed to take out Nightmare, which of course is a little bit, I think, less of a, super big result. But hey, you take out Nightmare. Nightmare is playing very, very well. And then 3-0 beyond. SOO right now is playing pretty incredibly. A lot of these players who returned earlier or are still kind of a part of the group of players that have not quite left for their military service, but, Trap, who was at one point the best Protoss in the world for quite a while. It shows that SOO's form right now is very, very good, and MAXPAX, I don't know if the same can be said for him at the current moment, at the very least. As I believe right now MAXPAX is doing well for himself, but of course off the back of that playoff performance, you're not going to be the happiest as the Protoss player. You obviously probably feel like you could have done a little bit better, because his group stage was really, really clean. 2-1 Lambo, 2-0 lots of other players, 3-0 Uthermal, 3-0 Showtime. He was playing very, very well up until that point, but got shut down, of course, by none other than Lambo, who he did beat earlier, as the Oracles do try and dive on in there. Not going to find too much success, and in this game, it's actually been pretty standard, but this is a bit of a deviation here for MAXPAX, who is trying to get extremely greedy, as that's a 4th Nexus that is almost finishing up, I believe. As, oh, 2 Oracles do go down. That's a big pick-off. Adept's now going to find 2 drones, but we're going to see Lings come on in. A nice round onto the back of this mineral patch as well. Means that they should get cleaned up. Oracle's trying to dive back in. Looks like only 1 did end up falling. Never mind. I thought that 2 ended up dying, but... +1 blink on the way for MAXPAX, who, I mean, you get 4 drone kills with this early pressure. It's, of course, nice, but you're not entirely reliant on that because, again, this is 4 Nexuses. Who goes 4 Nexuses this early? Well, it's MAXPAX. This is extremely greedy. Getting a 4th Nexus sub 6 minutes, and now it also getting scouted by Zerglings is a disaster. As SOO is working on a Spire, Glial Reconstitution as well for his Roaches. Is taking a 4th base of his own. What is going to be the response here from SOO? Because mind you, it's a lot of minerals invested right now for MAXPAX in infrastructure, in additional Nexuses, in now gateways that he's having to put down. There's not a lot of army for MAXPAX. Of course, SOO has not started producing units yet. Is still sitting at 71 drones. Is now going to start his Roach production. But this game is going to get a lot harder for SOO if he's not able to punish this really early 4th. And in fact, you're already seeing MAXPAX right now at 74 workers. Almost 7 minutes into this game. You know, the amount of snowballing that MAXPAX should be able to do, as he's now also going to look for this +1 blink stalker timing, is going to be pretty substantial. It's going to be a lot of money available to the Protoss. Of course, the gas production is actually not going to be that much. There's no gas at the 3rd base. It's now going to be there. It is added on in the 4th, but still not the most gas in the world here for MAXPAX, who's going to add on Zealots and start working on that charge. But look at this, 9 mutas on the way. SOO is going to be banking a lot on these mutalists getting some damage. His Lings are going to have to be brought over to deal with the Adepts once more. Do find a better surround, though. So again, only the 2 drones going down, but now you have the +1 blink stalkers making their way through. And there's only Queens here right now. Roaches are going to be brought up, but the Queens are going to start to fall as the blink backs from MAXPAX are very, very good. Gets a decent stasis ward, traps a few Zerglings at the very least. But now look at this, Muta backstab is going to just snipe away the shield battery and then try and find its way into the natural base. SOO is just going to look to get as much damage as possible done with these units and also avoid the stalkers of his opponent. 5 probes go down, backs on up, and it's decent enough for SOO. He delays the attack. MAXPAX is not committed in with the +1 blink stalkers. They're just going to look for a surround onto them. Ooh, onto the mutas. It's going to be able to find at least a little bit of damage. But you only get a singular muta. And this is SOO, I think, really using the mutalisks well. You use them to distract, use them to kind of shift the attention of your opponent elsewhere when they potentially could have gotten a lot of damage done with that +1 blink stalker attack. And now you have Banelings on the way. They don't have centrifugal hooks just yet, and I think that is SOO just being a little bit late on that upgrade. I should realize it's SOO and start that up. But the 5th hatchery is going to be denied as MAXPAX is working on his 5th Nexus. And you can just see how MAXPAX is trying to snowball this game. Zealot run by is going to get shut down. The mutas can actually start to pick away at some of them, as more and more Zerglings being added on. Of course, the Zerglings, it's a kind of weird roundabout counter here to the blink stalkers, as the mutas have to back on up. But SOO right now already approaching maxed out. He's going to need to bring over a few units to help deal with this counterattack. MAXPAX just going into this style that we've seen players like Hero really embrace, which is charge lot blink stalker on the ground. Eventually you'll add in splash damage, but that's not going to be for a while. Slow Banelings are actually going to be able to find some connections. Not usually how that is supposed to go, as Zealots are starting to fall. More Banelings able to find some decent hits and weaken up a lot of these stalkers. MAXPAX is actually losing a lot of supply around the map here, and mind you, all that supply that he's losing is in the army, because right now he's sitting at 80 workers. And of course, if SOO is able to find a convincing fight here on the ground, then the remax potential for the Protoss, or the rebuild potential into a strong army, is not as much. You have the income, of course. But that's not going to do a lot, as the Zerglings just going to chase down these stalkers. Of course, can just pick them off one by one. As this run by coming through. Ooh, SOO trying to bring in units now to help deal with it. The stalkers are going to get actually a pretty big surround here for SOO onto the Stalkers. Gets a lot of them very, very low. Forces them away. They're going to get chased down as we're seeing. I mean, the resources lost at this point has to be pretty darn even. That fight alone, though, SOO just barely eking it out. I mean, Stalkers just have to blink back. The slow Baneling still rolling through. Centrifugal Hooks is finally on the way. But again, I imagine that SOO was just very, very late on that upgrade, as this game has been extremely chaotic. As we have damage charts? Since when? That's so cool. That is so cool. I love that. But Morlings and Banes being added on, +2 almost done for these units, which means that those Banelings, if they do find connections, are just that much more deadly. Who's that Baneling? I find a decent hit. And SOO, of course, does have a lot of money to work with. I would like to see more upgrades being added on. Of course, you have the +2 Protoss right now working on +3, as Banelings are just going to keep rolling forward. And SOO just says, listen, you have, what, 1 Archon? That's not enough to stop me. He's just going to keep chasing it down, as SOO is going to be able to snipe away the 5th base. He's actually not going to be able to snipe away that 5th Nexus. He's just going to back on up as he has to bring some units over to help defend against that Zealot run-by. And this game already so crazy. The Mutas have been relegated to cleanup duty on the Zealots. Will finally get back out onto the map. But MAXPAX has been bringing the chaos. He has been bringing the pressure. SOO. Oh. Banelings are just going to get detonated there on a few Stalkers. The Archon is dead. That just means these Stalkers can't fight this army straight up. They have to back on up, kite as best they can. But you're going to take a lot of losses as MAXPAX doing this. Again, this is the one weakness of this army composition, is if you don't have splash damage, if you don't have other units to mix on in, you can lose these fights quite heavily, as Banelings looking to find some decent connections are going to get them. More Banelings rolling on through as the cannons are going down. And SOO is just trying to break this position at the 5th. And he says, I don't care for your early 4th bases. I don't care how much you invest in getting a better economy. It is not going to matter. As the 5th Nexus falls, SOO is able to clean up the counterattack on the right side of the map, and suddenly he's up 40 supply. Adding on an Ultra Cavern, +2 on the way for the Lingbane. And the Roaches as well, but right now this army is pretty much entirely Zerglings and Banelings. A few Roaches and Ravagers left over from that initial hold of SOO still here. Ooh, is these Banelings? Just gonna try and find some connections onto the Stalkers. Are gonna get some pretty decent ones, but the blink back behind the Archon means that you can't continue to commit on into that. But mind you, MAXPAX is continually bleeding units, and he needs to be this aggressive, of course. You need to try and continually find trades to be out on the map, but at some point it is starting to be more detrimental for the Protoss than it is getting work done, as we're now going to start to see probes go down. The wall is broken open. SOO's going to find his way into the base. The army has to be brought all the way back just to deal with this. SOO finding so much success right now as another run by here into the 4th base. Shield battery overcharge is going to be popped. The Zerglings targeting down as much of the stack defense as they can, but the cannon's getting so much value. And SOO, this was a little bit inefficient. Just a little bit, a tad bit. I mean, actually very inefficient. He's going to have to rebuild all those units, loses everything in the natural as well without really getting too much value. Now Ultras are on the way, +3 attack, the +2 armor finishing up, +2 carapace finishing up, and adrenal glands for these Zerglings. And once those Zerglings have adrenal glands, let me tell you, what is it, a 30% increase in attack speed? Something crazy like that. It is, yeah, it is a big buff here for these Zerglings. And that's going to be done now. And so if MAXPAX is not on top of kiting away his Stalkers, one surround by SOO is all it's going to take to just melt through this Protoss army. Ooh, is this fight? Baneling's not going to find the best connections. They're actually mostly connecting onto Archons, but you just see even the Archons with how fast these Lings just shred through everything. They just stand no chance, no armor, no shield upgrades. As this Ultralisk is actually going to be able to clean up a lot of these Zealots. Actually just finished Chitinous Plating, doesn't have the +3 Carapace just yet, but it doesn't matter. The Ultra is alive. As the Muta, singular Muta is going to knock down the Warp Prism. As now another Ultra coming on through. MAXPAX has established his 5th base. It's 5 versus 5. The resources lost almost dead even. 700 minerals more loss for MAXPAX, and that is about it as the Ultralisk is getting targeted down. The Stalkers then blink away. MAXPAX, this micro, sublime with his Stalkers, able to pull back. Baneling counterattack, though. Just going to try and make this look a little bit more dangerous as another Ultralisk is going to go down. The Lings, though, trying to look and get on top of this army. Baneling run by into the probe line is going to be able to find 13 probes worth of damage. As MAXPAX is just starting to lose ground. He's trying to find these trades and he's doing well, but another Archon is going to fall. And MAXPAX is at 50 workers. He's at 104 supply. But SOO is also getting lower and lower. When it's, I mean, these low economies, this low base count for 15 minutes through this game, it has just been constant action, constant fighting, and MAXPAX is trying to make it work. He has +3 for these Zealots, but now so do the Zerglings, as they are just shredding through everything. And SOO, how do you do it? Has finally started to break ahead in this game. Now 60 supply up, 3 more Ultralisks on the way. All of that extra income right now in the 23 extra workers that he has managed to hold on to. And for SOO, it's been a low gas count. I mean, he doesn't have gas on his 4th or his 5th. And it's allowing him to just produce so many Zerglings off this economy. And honestly, I mean, this game has been really, really well done by SOO, handling how much he needs of each resource. He hasn't been getting too much gas because he doesn't need it. And finally, now he's going to add on a 6th base as he knows that the pressure is done. MAXPAX has pulled back. Okay, I can add on a 6th. So that blink was a little bit early. Zerglings, probably not going to be able to find this around before the blink is back up. And with Archons here, of course, you don't want to fight into it. The +3 Archons do quite a bit of damage, but look at this. Oh, Banelings! 17 probes go down. Ultras are going to find even more damage. One is going to try and retreat, but the Stalkers should be able to clean that up. As Zergling's looking for another run by, they're just going to back on up, snipe a cannon, get away, and the Ultra actually survives. 2 more Ultralisks on the way, and SOO, I mean, showing, I think, really a great way how to deal with this unit composition. Of course, with MAXPAX, it was pretty straight up. He didn't do anything like the double Stargate into the Mass Gateway. That was not really, he wasn't looking to trick his opponent, but even without that, SOO holding on by a knife's edge at some times. As he's now 80 supply up, and he's going to look for a fight. He says, listen, I think I have enough, and he might just be right. The army supply, I mean, it's still pretty close. It's 74 to 124. You have Archons, you have Blink Stalkers, but there's also Ultralisks here. The Zerg army is just going to start to roll through. The Blinkbacks come through, and MAXPAX trying to hold on with the shield battery overcharge. It's actually going to find quite a bit of value, but look how much there is for SOO. He has 4 Ultras on the other side of the map. I thought that was his whole army, but no. He's going to clean up the base of MAXPAX. He's going to keep pushing with, I mean, a measly 3rd, if not a 4th of his army. 16 probes fall. The bases are going to go down. More Ultralisks coming on by, and they are just going to absolutely shred through these units. The Stalkers trying their best to kite this out, but there is no more shield battery overcharge. There is nothing left for MAXPAX. GG. Whew. Sorry, I need a minute to breathe after that last game. That was something between these two players. Constant action, back and forth. It was really, really interesting how SOO ended up deciding to counter the composition from his opponent and then maneuver that game into a victory. It was extremely well done. Extremely well done. I mean, I think a lot of Zergs would have had trouble with that. MAXPAX was applying so much pressure. But it just did not end up really mattering in the long run. SOO held on and was able to get the win. Now, Guangdong Freaks are going to be up 3-2. That means that if SOO is able to get this win, there is going to be no ace match. It's going to be the 4-2 for the Freaks. And even more pressure now on MAXPAX to win this and send it to that decider. But again, it's going to be hard. SOO's form right now is pretty insane. And I mean, again, I guess you really can't understate that MAXPAX's group stage was very, very good. And his playoffs were great in DreamHack until he ran into Lambo. That was really the only part where he hit a snag. And so you can't really judge entirely off of that one series. Of course, the 3-0 does suck, but it's Lambo. It's a best of 5. You know, it's one of, I would say Lambo is one of an extremely good preparation player. I don't know if he's one of the best, but I'd fathom that he is with just how well he knows the matchups and build orders and strategies. But again, SOO has just shown some really insane, shown an incredible level of play recently. And so we'll have to see. MAXPAX is going to go into the Stargate. This is the building that, of course, I think is most known for using. The Stargate. I mean, every Protoss was using it, of course. That's what. Yes, MAXPAX is known for using the Stargate. Good to know, Titan. Not like every other Protoss also did that, but MAXPAX still would have a lot of different Stargate openers. He wasn't just keeping himself to the 2 Stargate Void Ray. You know, even after the nerf to that, he would mix in 2 Stargate Phoenix, would mix in a bunch of different strategies with the Stargate opening. And we have seen that a lot of Protosses have just been favoring that. You know, while not every Protoss kind of fully embraced the Void Ray meta, we have seen that afterwards, now that they've been nerfed, a lot of Protosses have just been saying, yeah, Stargate, double, triple Oracle into ground units is just so solid for getting early map presence, for finding some harassment damage, you know, for putting your opponent just a little bit behind, and then also having a comfortable transition. And it allows for so much more skill expression from the Protoss, whereas before you could just rely on the strength of the Void Rays to keep you alive through the early game, and then go into Carriers, another unit which really didn't require a lot of micro to use the Carrier. And so it really just ended up being a battle of how well are you able to control your units against the Zerg, who is trying to build the counters, as Oracle's going to find its way on in. And this is something interesting that I've noticed about SOO, that he does in his Zerg versus Protosses, is that he doesn't build Spore Crawlers. SOO just kind of says, listen, I think I have enough queens to stop you from finding a lot of damage. And the Spore Crawler is extra money. It's a drone wasted. So I'll just defend it with the queens. And so far, I mean, has kept it to 4 drones killed. It's not that bad. Is now going to add on Spore Crawler just a little bit later. Should be pretty happy with how little damage he's taken so far. He's going to continue to keep these Oracles out of his base. We are seeing the 3 Oracles. 1 there getting a Revelation at the 3rd. Now 2 going to try and find their way into the main, but they're just going to be denied by SOO. As now we have the Twilight Council and Forge. I imagine would be Blinken +1, but we have seen some crazier things happen. But no, MAXPAX, we'll just be playing this about as standard as you can get for Protoss right now. It's 10 drones on the way here for SOO. Is actually gonna look for a cancel here on this gold base. There is not really any. Yeah, that should just be a cancel. A bit annoying there for MAXPAX. It's just going to be a slight delay on the building of the Nexus. It's going to be a Hydra Den here for SOO. And we have seen the Hydra Den kind of fade out, definitely fade out of popularity in Zerg versus Protoss especially. In exchange for just, you know, Roachling Bane into Corruptors has kind of been the go-to composition, but SOO is going to be bringing back the Hydras here. So we are going to see Group Spines on the way, the +1 missile attack. And of course the Hydralisk, the real strength of it is just the range that it has. It can shoot from so much farther away than a lot of other units. If you have a strong front line for it, you know, if you have a lot of Zerglings and Banelings, you can just continually run your units in, and the DPS from the Hydralisks, if your opponent is trying to dodge Banelings, is quite insane. Centrifugal Hooks is going to be started up immediately, so SOO going to make sure not to repeat the mistake of game number 1, which did make it just a little bit harder for him to hold on against that aggression, as the 4th hatchery is almost finishing up. And so far, a completely standard opening here on Blackburn for these teams, and for these players especially. For the teams. Yes, 3v3, let's go. Honestly, I think that would be interesting to see, though. Like a 2v2 or 3v3 tournament, team league, where you have the teams pit 2 of their players up. Of course, I think in the past we've seen some Archon tournaments, but people like Wardy and I think maybe Pig, I'm not entirely sure, but have done Archon tournaments, and those are always extremely fun. As these Zerglings, I actually just get the kill there on the robotics facility. Oh, shield battery overcharge just in time. He's going to be able to keep that alive, but still it's the energy expended there by MAXPAX. SOO is just being annoying with these Zerglings, continually running them around and, again, trying to distract his opponents. The same thing they did with the Mutas in game 1 to buy himself additional time to build up his army. Same thing he's doing now, building up his Hydralisk count, getting into a really heavy amount of Zerglings as he's getting this 4th base up and operational. Looks like should also add on a 5th pretty shortly here, I imagine. So MAXPAX is going to be happy with that find. His Musket Augments is going to finish up, and that means that the Hydras are going to be maximum strength now. They have the movement speed, they have the range. A lot easier to play, to be around the map with the Hydras alongside the Lingbane. Ooh, I mean, SOO trying to find a catch there is just going to get a Sentry, an Oracle, one more Stalker, and a Great Stage Sword to be able to push the rest of those units back. As SOO's going to be able to catch that small counterattack that was never sent through. +1 melee attacks coming through for the Zerglings and the Banelings. Of course, SOO already has that +1 range, and MAXPAX doing what Protoss usually do, just working on his +2 ground weapons, as he's going to have to blink back. But also at the same time, that's actually +2 ground armor. That's +2 ground armor at the same time, as War Prism did commit on in here to the main. We are going to see at least 4. Zealot's going to get on out. The Lings able to clean up the rest, even with those upgrades coming through. The double forge for MAXPAX, though, could make a lot of difference in this game. Again, when he was playing in that last game, you're looking at a MAXPAX with +3, +0. His army doesn't have a lot of staying power in those fights, and especially when you're looking at a 3-3 Zerg, you really weren't able to find a lot of success. So MAXPAX is going to remedy that, has +2 ground weapons, working on the armor as well. Should, I think, eventually add on more gases. There we go. Onto his 5th and his 3rd. Right now only has it at his main, his natural. As Oracle does go down, and SOO has a small chunk of his army caught out, but he says, never mind, maybe I've caught you out, as he's bringing forward the rest of his army. Baneland connections are very, very good so far. And just look at how these Hydras shred through the Stalkers when they're left to their own devices. As connections coming through, the Stalkers not able to blink back in time. All their shields are gone as the Stalkers continuing to try and harass the gold base. But now we got disruptors. The splits coming through from SOO is going to take some pretty big hits. A lot of Banelings go down with that one. As Banelings continuing to roll in, and Stalker's not blinking back. SOO finding a lot of damage right now. Zergling's going to stream on in as, SOO just suddenly has found a massive fight. He's going to clean up more of the workers here at the gold base. More Lings coming on in. He's suddenly on top of the disruptors. Disruptor shots have to be used just to try and clean up the Zerglings, but they're still going to go down, and it's just the Stalkers left as 2 bases are going to fall. And SOO just says, listen, again, you don't have enough. I'm just going to roll through you. No issue about it. Takes out the cannon. 11 probes have gone down. MAXPAX is still sitting very, very comfortably at 74 as he's working on his +3 ground weapons now. But that was not the fight that MAXPAX wanted. That was not the situation where MAXPAX wanted to take an engagement, and SOO just forced it to happen anyway. Is continuing to remax on Hydras. Colossus now on the way for MAXPAX. And Colossus, of course, I think is what you wanted this whole time. The disruptors are, of course, good, but you have that cooldown. And MAXPAX, he had, I think, 4 or 5 disruptors, but he threw out all of the disruptor shots consecutively. And that meant that his disruptors were all on cooldown at the same time. And that's never the situation that you want to be in, as all these zealots are going to get cleaned up. That Hydra survives with like 1 HP. +2 ranged weapons is finally on the way. Honestly, the supply difference might just be enough for SOO to find the win in this game. Right now, sitting 50 supply up. Continuing to harass the back of the gold base. Got up the gold base of his own as well, sitting at 78 workers. It's actually lower in workers than MAXPAX, who only has a singular disruptor, a singular Colossus. And, oh, MAXPAX, you gotta be careful. You can't step too far forward. It's good kiting there with the Stalkers and with the Colossus, but again, more probes, more mining being denied at the gold base. That just means that SOO is going to continue to compound this lead that he has, mining about 1,000 more minerals per minute right now, a little bit less than it. But has a Spire on the way, has a Hive, is now maxed out once again, and is pretty much managing 2 armies on each front, where he's just trying to harass with one, and then actually find a surround with the other. As, ooh, Hydra's getting a little bit far forward there, are going to now back up. As great Baneling connections on the top side of the map are going to clean up all those zealots, and now suddenly, once again, MAXPAX, you're not allowed to mine at your gold. He's going to have to make it more warbins to be able to fight in that front Colossus. The second one is going to be added on as the +3 is close to finishing up. A few of the Stalkers are going to go down. And SOO is just playing this meticulously. He doesn't want to commit in until he knows that he can win a fight. As does manage to snipe a disruptor, loses a few Banelings for it, but overall, he's going to find a worthwhile trade. 4 more probes go down, and now SOO, again, just looking to find a better and better position here on this map. Just playing this so well. Slowly starting to try and bleed out his opponent. I mean, MAXPAX is still sitting at 160 supply. He has not been allowed to max out. The third Colossus is on the way, as well as another disruptor. But that is really going to be the saving grace here for MAXPAX. SOO just can't commit on it. I mean, it's +3 Colossus. There's no way the Protoss is, or the Zerg is going to be able to find a fight that he wins there, as Baneling's trying to find some connections, and 21 probes are going to end up falling. MAXPAX is finally knocked down to a worker count lower than that of his opponent, 63 now to 74. In favor of the Zerg, as an Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, Adrenal Glands, and +3 melee. As SOO, is he just going to look for the fight? It's so hard to take that engagement without a surround. But actually just resets up, finds a Concave, is now going to look for this fight, pulls back a lot of the Hydras, but is looking for the Focus Fire onto the Colossus as Banelings roll through. Second Disruptor shot whiffs. That's so many Banelings that just can't go in because of the Archons. As SOO once again resets up the Concave, now rolls in the Banelings, and they are not going to stop for anything. The Colossus trying their absolute best, but oh, that Colossus is going to survive. Ooh, SOO here, not taking the best trades, has actually lost almost double that of his opponent in that one trade. Chitinous plating now on the way. Ultras in production. SOO. Oh, SOO. Is he trying to set up a surround here? Looks like it. SOO. He's trying to collapse on the army. Disruptor shot is just canceled. A yoink onto the first Colossus. It has to be pulled back, but it just gets yanked again with the abduction. As another disruptor is going to go down, and SOO finds the collapse. He's once again going to deny the mining here at the gold base. As Zealot run by is going to just get shut down by a few Ultralisks. This warping in Nexus is just not going to go up. SOO does have to retreat, has to be careful, doesn't want to commit in too far. And right now, MAXPAX is, of course, on even worker count with his opponent. 68 to 70. He is sitting just a base behind right now. It's 5 bases to 6, but it's a lot of supply available for SOO. Again, he's making these games scrappy. He's looking for the engagements. And in the last game, it was MAXPAX who had that worker lead and was constantly forcing engagements. Now it's SOO. MAXPAX is finally retaking it, though. 73 workers available for this Protoss. You can still muster a very, very strong army with the +3/+2 upgrades. And mind you, there are no Carapace upgrades here for this Zerg. In the last game, when SOO got into Ultras, he had +3 Carapace alongside them. They were tanky. They could take a lot of damage. Not so much the case now in this game. Immortals being added on. Archons being warped in alongside the Storm. So we are eventually going to have Psionic Storm available, which again, would have been great to have earlier, but MAXPAX had gone to those Disruptors that didn't end up doing a whole lot with his first batch. As this 6th base is really imperative right now for MAXPAX. That blink forward, though, is a little bit greedy. Your Stalkers now don't have that spell available, and SOO is just going to run this army down the Ultras, trying to get on top of everything so they can get those AoE swings, and they absolutely will. We'll eventually have to back on up, but another run by into the gold base is going to shut down the mining there. More probes are going to fall, and SOO is just being relentless with counterattacks and aggression. In these 2 games, whenever he has an advantage, he is finding multiple attacks at different locations. 28 probes fall. 2 Nexuses are going to go down. And that might just be all it takes for SOO to finally find the victory here in this game. And he's looking to get the 4-2 here for the Kwangdong Freaks. A Warp is going to come through. Not even a Warp, just a drop from MAXPAX, but they're focusing an empty Extractor. As it's 44 probes available for the Protoss. 73 drones for SOO. A great Abduct is going to snipe away that Warp Prism. And right now, Baneling run by. Resources lost are even, which again is never a position that you want to be in. Probes are going to start falling. Where's the army to stop this? They're finally going to come through. But at the same time, SOO drags the whole army over, is now going to find the rest of his forces into the natural, and the 3rd Storms go down onto a lot of the Zerglings. But that's a lot of the Storm energy already gone now. SOO knocks down a gateway, is just going to back on up. Send Zerglings on in to try and find some mineral line harassment or maybe some pylons. He's going to try and knock down that robotics facility. +60 supply ahead, though, is SOO right now, and he's working on +3 range. He's working on +2 Carapace. I mean, the upgrades for SOO have certainly not been anything incredible in this game, but he's just been focusing on having a stronger and a better army for fighting what his opponent has, and it has worked out very, very well right now for our Red Zerg. Yeah, he says that Nexus, I'm not going to allow that to go up, as, High Templar! Gonna get caught out, and that is a lot of energy lost. A lot of resources invested in those High Templar, now just gone. As SOO is just expanding all over the map. Was at 6 bases already, now taking a 7th and an 8th. Mind you, this is on a map that only has 14 bases per side. SOO is trying to take out more than half of them. And his income is starting to get a little bit out of control for MAXPAX, who is sitting with a large army, but that's about it. It's 113 supply of Protoss right now. But just look how much Zerg there is. It is baffling how much SOO has. As once again, he's going to look for the fight. The Storms go down, but they don't really find the connections that they need. Banelings just roll through, and they explode on Archons, but does it really matter? As another Storm, Banelings are going to get melted. SOO, I mean, is just trying to force the fight, but the Blinding Clouds aren't going to really be the best. As he does have to back up, and it wasn't the best engagement there for SOO. Ultrawist got cleaned up there by the cannon at the, well, now the 4th base. It was the 5th originally. And MAXPAX found a better trade, but again, how many better trades is it going to take for you to win this game? And the answer is, it's going to be a lot. I don't even know how many times. Of course, SOO's bank, though, isn't the largest. Right now, only 1,000 minerals. So if you're able to find a convincing fight, then this can look a whole lot different, but it's going to be another Zergling counterattack into that base. And SOO is just trying to force MAXPAX more all in than he already was. He says, listen, I'm getting rid of your last mining base. This is all you have left. As, oh, the Immortals are shredding through those Ultralisks. 4 Immortals on the map right now for MAXPAX. 4 Archons, 2 Colossus, and the High Templar. This is his army right now with +3/+2. More Zerglings being, morphed in as here's the surround coming through, but the storms are good. Now the Hydra's coming on through. Another storm goes down, but the blinding cloud is going to buy a lot of time for SOO to collapse onto this army, as it is so close. The Colossus are pulled into the Hydras, but a lot of SOO's army has gone down. He's lost so much, and suddenly the army supplies are even 38-45. But the quality of MAXPAX's army is just that much better, as SOO lost so much for that fight. And the hope is that he was able to kill enough that he can come in with a second swell of units and try and find the win here in this engagement. As SOO is just trying to set up the surround, is now going to go on through, has caught the Immortals in the back. Baneling's rolling on in. The Blink Stalkers don't blink. GG, SOO gets the 2-0.